Hi, my name is Rafael Julas. I just came from my tennis lesson and I was really thirsty. This day was quite hot for me to be thirsty. So I decided to buy a bottle of water at the supermarket. It felt so good. That water was fresh and I had feelings so good after drinking it. But then, after drinking my bottle of water, I asked myself, what am I going to do with this bottle? I also asked myself if my action was good for the environment. So I decided to make my own little research. First, I realized how dependent on plastic we had become since it was first produced in the 1950s. As of today, there's more than 5 billion metric tons of accumulated plastic waste generated in the world, of course. Most of which is simply not recycled or incinerated, although plastic waste generation will continue to increase towards 2050. The proportion of that waste that is simply discarded should decrease. Cool. It was interesting to realize the amount of plastic that is mismatched by different countries and ends up in the oceans. But I was shocked when I saw how much plastic waste China and other developing countries like Indonesia or even the Philippines is mismanaging to the ocean. I thought it would be the same for Europe because as an industrial continent, Europe produces a lot of plastic and presumably a lot of plastic waste. But in fact, you see these little yellow dots in Europe are quite small. That means that only a small amount of plastic waste actually ends up in the ocean. The key seems to be waste management, meaning that there is more recycling. This finally tells me that my bottle has more chances to be recycled than to be, wasted in the ocean. Imagine, there are even continents of plastic debris that have formed across all oceans. The biggest is the one below. It is referred to as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It is as big as a third of the USA. When I throw my plastic bottle in the blue bag, what happens with it? Let's go find out. So I spoke with the manager of the container park of Waterloo and he explained that they're just a collecting facility, but they're not recycling. He told me that they receive about 40 cubic meters of PMC a week. He also told me that all the PMC is taken to Valtries, which is the main sorting center of Wallonia region. Look at how much waste of plastic there is. When I think about how much people consume plastic, I'm impressed. And all the PMC is placed on the conveyor belt. See there, all metals are separated from plastic by magnets. Here in Valtries, they're sorting manually plastic from metal, just in case there is some metal left, and to make sure that all of it is stored from plastic. It's important. Okay, so this is what we call bales. Bales are big cubes of plastic that are sent to the recycling factory because, as I said earlier, Valtries doesn't recycle, they only store. Then these bales are brought to different factories such as, for example, Wellman Recycling, which is in Spek, in a city in the Netherlands. And this is where all the recycling process starts. Well, then it is broken into small pieces. They're all separated through the washing process, leaving only cleaned PET flakes. Then they're dried. The flakes are melted, extruded into a sort of spaghetti, and cooled into water. And after this, they're getting chopped. Well, then it is broken into small pieces. For example, do you know that with 4 PET recycled bottles, you can produce 3 new bottles? Or with 6 PET recycled bottles, you can produce a teddy bear. So, to come back to the question that I asked myself if my action was good for the environment, well, I can tell that here in Belgium and all over Europe, plastic is being recycled. which is not the case in all countries. Also, my action depends on where I throw it. For example, if I throw it in the black bin, it'll be burned. However, if I throw it in the PMC bag, it'll be well treated, meaning it will be recycled. But most importantly, instead of buying a bottle of water, I can actually drink water directly from the tap. And because in Europe, we have this advantage to have clean water. Okay folks, I'm afraid that the video is here. I really hope that you enjoyed watching it. Please do not throw plastic in nature, and I wish you a wonderful day. Goodbye.